Hi, everyone. This is John Davidson here with Reclaiming Christendom with a few brief thoughts on what's happened over the past week with the assassination of Charlie Kirk and what we're seeing in the political discourse here in the United States. And I will say there's been a lot of people sharing their thoughts, some of them good, many of them not good, in the days since Charlie Kirk was assassinated. But I want to hone in specifically on an issue that I think is not being explained very well and that a lot of people might be missing. And that is with the manipulation of language about the assassination and about political violence and violent rhetoric that we're seeing from the corporate press in the United States. And I say corporate press, not mainstream press or mainstream media, because the views and the ideas that are expressed in the corporate media are very far outside the American mainstream. And we can see this in the way that they've been talking about Charlie Kirk's assassination, the way they've been talking about Charlie Kirk's legacy and what he dedicated his life to, and the justifications, the implicit, tacit justifications for political violence. And I'll give you an example of that. You see people talking, making sort of pro forma denunciations of political violence on CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, all the major news networks. You're seeing it in the Washington Post, the New York Times, and it follows a formula where they'll say, Charlie Kirk, his death was tragic, and there's no place for political violence on either side of the political spectrum in the United States. But, and that's the key, they say, but he did spew hateful rhetoric, but he did provoke people and rile people up, but he was a provocateur, which is what the New York Times calls him. New York Times' Peter Baker said that he riled people up. And the purpose of this language is to give tacit justification for violence against him. After all, if someone is a provocateur, they're provoking something. They're provoking a response, perhaps a violent response. If somebody is a divisive figure, or if they spew hate speech or hateful rhetoric, that's code. And the people in the corporate press understand that that is code for excusing a violent reaction to speech that you disagree with. When they say that you are a fascist, or they say you're a Nazi, it's a pretty transparent dog whistle on the left that violence against you is okay. Because, of course, we all know what we have to do to Nazis, right? We have to stop them by force. We all know what we have to do to fascists. We have to stop them by force. And the left has internalized this language and this ideology of power. And this is part of what I get at in my book, Pagan America, that in a post Christian society, in a post Christian West, we will lose the very Christian ideas that we have about free speech and free association and tolerance for other people's differences and an open public square of debate. And we will adopt, as we see the corporate press and the mainstream left adopting, a language and an ethic and an ideology of force, of violence, of the justification of the use of force in the face of speech and ideas you don't like. So keep that in mind when you're watching the media coverage of the Charlie Kirk assassination. And when you hear things like that, understand what it is, that this is a fundamentally neo-pagan ethos that glorifies force over free speech, over human rights, over tolerance and reason and debate. Thank you.